name is McCorry, and today we will discuss the topic of cognitive complexity. While this sounds complex itself, cognitive complexity is simply the ability to understand situations and events in a multiple ways. So for example, if I were to show you this ink blot and ask you to interpret it, cognitive complexity would allow you to come up with several interpretations for what it is that you are observing. Today we will apply the idea of cognitive complexity to our interpersonal relationships. And in doing so, we will answer the following question. What impact does the ability to understand a given situation in multiple ways have on our interpersonal relationships? To answer the question, I will point to the following 3 facts. First, cognitive complexity increases the likelihood that a new relationship will develop. Second, cognitive complexity helps us to maintain more positive relationships, our current positive relationships. And third, cognitive complexity makes us more favorable relationship partners. Before elaborating, I'd like to share the following quote. In the absence of information, we jump to the worst conclusions. So, let's get started. First, cognitive complexity allows for new relationships. This happens because research shows that jumping to conclusions based on personal appearance or material objects reduces the possibility that we will make new relationships by, this happens as a result of stereotyping. For example, in an article published by Psychology Today at psychology.com, Yale professor Mazarin Baha calls the behavior that results from stereotyping leakage. He says these behaviors are most likely to show up in nonverbal behaviors, such as our expressions, how far away we stand from people, and how much eye contact we make. In other words, Banji suggests that stereotyping causes us to react in ways that reduce positive social interaction. However, by taking advantage of cognitive complexity, we are able to examine our stereotypes and adjust our behavior accordingly, therefore allowing for the establishment of new relationships. Moving forward, the ability to utilize cognitive complexity helps us positively maintain our current relationships. This happens because rather than jumping to conclusions about situations or events, we are more likely to engage in pro-social behaviors such as asking questions, listening carefully, and admitting uncertainty. In a report published in 2010 by the University of California titled Cognitive Complexity and Marital Interaction in Newlyweds, researchers found that couples that were able to problem solve effectively enjoyed more marital satisfaction than those that had less complex thoughts about their partner. So for example, if you had a friend that was passing you on the way to class, and your friend passed you without noticing you, less complex thoughts may lead you to believe that your friend has some grudge against you, and in turn may cause you to engage in more unfavorable activity. Instead, using cognitive complexity, you're able to identify alternatives for your friend's behavior. So for example, your friend may have been worried about an upcoming exam. Your friend may have been focusing on a recent argument that she had with her boyfriend, or maybe she just didn't see you. So in turn, cognitive complexity, you will be more likely to respond to your friend with empathy and understanding, and thus the relationship will remain positive. Finally, cognitive complexity makes us more favorable relationship partners. To explain, research shows that individuals who consistently assess situations from a variety of perspectives are more likely to possess positive attitudes and optimistic life outlooks. For example, in an article published in 1994 by the American Psychological Association titled Thinking Positive, a Stress Buffer, authors contend that utilizing cognitive complexity to derive positive thoughts creates a more positive personality. In other words, these types of individuals tend to display personalities that make them more favorable relationship partners. So, in conclusion, I'd like to remind you that sometimes it's tempting to judge something immediately. Judgments can be used to arrive at conclusions quickly. However, much like the gentleman in our illustration, this behavior is likely to leave us unsatisfied and disappointed. Remember that you have the ability to use cognitive complexity and consider the ideas in multiple ways. As we have discussed, utilizing this skill will have a positive effect on our interpersonal relationships. This happens by minimizing biases, increasing prosocial behaviors, and also making us more favorable relationship partners. I'd like to thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time, and I hope that you found the information interesting and useful. Thank you.
Very interesting, very